We got a 2-foot snowstorm right before Christmas, and we heard about it. We heard about it from our citizens in Windsor saying, you guys got to do better.
This session is really all about weather and the weather tools that we have and what things are out there to help us make decisions and what tools can we implement. I'm turning this over to Brian, and he's going to tell you all about their journey.
So again, Windsor's right across the road. I'm not going to go too much detail, but we are fast growing, about 47,000 population, and it's just continuing to grow. We got some guys in the back that they're not always happy about all the people that are coming because our snow operations are continuing to grow. But if you're not growing, unfortunately, you are dying. But as far as a little bit about Windsor, we get about 14, 18 snowstorms a year, approximately 47 inches. But this is kind of a breakdown of our operations. We got 56 employees spread around 8 divisions. That's Public Works, Park Recreation, and Culture. We have about 273 center lane miles. Obviously, you times that, there's a lot more that you have to maintain. And then we have some state highways that we work with CDOT and our friends, but we also have gravel roads, sidewalks, trails, all the same thing you all maintain. Then we all have this thing called the phone that's always attached to our head, and we're always looking, and one guy over here is saying, oh, mine's saying this, and this one over here is saying, oh, mine's saying that, and they start to argue, and it's like, hold on, guys, it's gonna snow. But we're going to look at all the resources that we have. So in Windsor, we have multiple resources. I think we have about 8, and we compile them, and then what they're all saying, that's what we kind of go with. But then the bottom one is what we used to start with, is we used to have guys and gals driving at night. Well, that's great because you're seeing what's happening, but now you're burning fuel. You're burning people out. You're burning their hours, so they're not used anymore because you have to find more people. So we've had to think of better ways to go about doing our operations. So what were the challenges? I just kind of mentioned staff burnout, driving around, checking on roads, being away from their families, and then now you have lack of staff because you just burned their hours. You can't use them until their hours come back into being available. Overtime cost. It goes to your budget. I'm sure you all are dealing with budget cuts. We actually have some that we're dealing with ourselves. The 24/7 update, Mark was just talking about that. Is the forecast that you're looking at or using, has it been updated? Majority of the time, it doesn't update till 7 o'clock in the morning if you're using these apps on your phone. So you have to pay attention to that. We got a 2-foot snowstorm right before Christmas, and we heard about it. We heard about it from our citizens in Windsor saying, you guys got to do better. We used the forecast that I showed you, and unfortunately, it wasn't good enough. So we came to these conferences and we started just trying to get all the data and started talking to our upper management and trying to talk to our board to get the buy-in for it. So where do we start? Like I've mentioned, you talk to all the people that you have in this industry because there's so many people out there. You go to the conferences, then you start researching all the different companies out there. I'm not going to be a person that's going to sell you on a particular company. That's because there's so many out there. You have to use what's best for you all to be successful.
Are they going to be able to give you specific information? We're going to talk in a few minutes about some of the weather tools that are out there. The more tools you have that they can look at, they can help you be very specific in what you're doing. If they don't, they're still going to give you the best forecast they possibly can. They're going to concentrate on road weather. They're going to concentrate on what's going to happen to the pavement. To do that, they may even be asking you questions about the types of road you have, what's the base, what it's made of, all that kind of thing. So they can determine what's going to happen in any kind of heat model where we're looking at the pavement for sure. Forecasts are for planning, okay? I want to know what's going to happen. But observations are for real-time decisions, okay? And what do I mean by that, right? When you're looking at what you're going to go do, we're going to go pre-treat, okay? Because this storm is coming, we got pretty good confidence, we're going to go out and pre-treat. Before I send a truck out to put liquids on a cold road, I want to know what's that pavement temperature. I want to know what the winds are. Is it dry? If that road's dry or wet, we don't really want to go put liquids out on it, right? Things like that. So planning is one thing with forecasts of what's going to happen, and we have to make our decisions ahead of time on what we're going to do based on that data. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. I have to decide today what my crew's gonna do tomorrow. We can take all the equipment that's on this weather station and hang it on any street light or any stop signal that you have in town. We can put it anywhere you want it today, okay? You can own it or you can kind of have a subscription, a lease, if you will, for it. Either way, those things are out there. These things are out there 24/7. Every weather station, every weather forecaster, whether it's National Weather Service, whether it's private weather service, whether it's airports, all look at these stations to look at what's actually happening out there. These are a little bit unique in what we do. You can decide what sensors you want on those. But in almost every case, we're looking at the wind, which is almost always way up at the top. We're looking at visibility, precipitation, intensity of precipitation, type of precipitation that's coming down. We're looking at air temperature, dew point, humidity, all that's part of that. We're looking at road conditions. Is it slippery? We can actually shoot the road with lasers and come back and tell you that road is dry, that road is wet, that road is slushy, that road is snowy. We can tell you how thick it is. We can tell you how slippery it is.
We actually have 2 ROS stations right now. We've been talking about adding a third, but how we came about this, we've worked with a weather forecaster and used a topography map to determine where were the right places to put it. Obviously, you got to have power, those key things. So each one of these locations, the one up north, number 2 is on a signal light, which I'll show you here in a little bit. Another one right here is on a signal light, but that was actually in the city of Loveland. So we are working together. Windsor and Loveland teamed up. They're benefiting from the information, but we use the topography to understand where we wanted to put it. Because in Windsor, when we get snow, like I'm pretty sure everybody else, part of the town gets snow, the other part of it doesn't. And then this next snowstorm, this side's getting hit, and this one's not. So it's all about placement, using the topography, but using the experts in the weather field to help guide you. It's already telling you what the road friction, the state of the road, the temperature of the road, all that. But what the great thing is, the drivers and our managers and supervisors in the office, they get to see this. They get to determine what this little cheat sheet I call from Visala, which is great. It gives you the grip rating, the road state. So then when you're out there applying, like Mark's mentioned, granular material, pre-wetting, any of that liquid material that you want to put out, you got to judge all this. You can't just go put it down, because then there's times where if you put it at the wrong time, now you just caused the problem and you made it slick yourself. So having all this technology helps you improve your operations, so you can get ahead of it instead of actually causing more problems. So every Monday morning, we have managers and supervisors that get together, and we have a little sheet that I unfortunately didn't have put into the PowerPoint today. That kind of goes through everything. So we're going through the weather. What are we seeing? And then the next one is we're checking the staffing, who's available. And then we're going through all our equipment with our fleet manager in the room. If there's a piece of equipment that was damaged, has it been fixed? Does plow blades need to be changed, etc. But then we start to communicate with our communications team. So the weather that we're seeing, we're kind of getting out in front of it and telling the people that, hey, we're looking at it probably, when it starts to go out, that it's a priority 1 snowstorm. So we're updating the public where we're at with our priorities.
You can not only see where their trucks are, you can see the cameras they have in there, what the roads look like. And really, in some cases, Iowa even shows whether they're spreading or not spreading. But this is the biggest tool I've ever seen, and I use it if we're going to go north, we're going ice fishing or something. You can actually look, because if you go back and let's just say here, what does that mean to somebody? But you show them a picture of what it looks like out on the road, then they decide, do I go out or don't I go out, right? It's actually a really, really cool tool. And they built in all the safeties for the operators. Anytime you get down below 5 miles an hour, it shuts off. So if you're stopping for coffee, if you're stopping to take a break, whatever it is, that's not showing up. It's only showing up when you're going down the road and you're doing your job. There's things there to really think about. And then maybe you understand why paid services really truly do make a difference, because it's directed and it's looking at the data you really need to make decisions for sure. And I thank Brian for showing us kind of their journey and what they're doing and what they've put in place at their agency. It's really pretty cool.